Three, two, one. Hey everybody, and this is Lance B, and I'm going to do something a little bit different today. We're doing a little bit of a story time. I haven't really uploaded anything for about maybe 3 weeks now, and due to the fact that I've had some difficulties with some side effects with some medicine that the doctor gave me for my blood pressure, I swelled up, my feet swelled up, my legs swelled up, could barely walk, barely wanted to do anything as far as making any videos because I wasn't really feeling that well to do that. So it also gave me some time to think about, you always have things in the past always come up when you kind of stop working, and I know quite a few of you out there have been asking me certain, personal questions and stuff, and well, here we go. Here's some things about my past that I never really told anyone. That I almost got 10 years in prison. I'll tell you that story. Well, a while back ago, I worked at a chain pharmacy. I was a pharmacy technician, and during that time, I worked there for about almost 10 and a half, 11 years with the company. And about maybe 4 years before everything hit the fan, I got into a car wreck.
Oh crap! Oh my God!
A drunk driver T-boned my car, and I almost went through the windshield. Thank God for seatbelts. But it really did kind of mess me up after the process, and I should have went to the hospital when they asked me to. But I just wanted to go home. I was just like, I was still in shock. I was still kind of unnerved, and I just want to go home. I just don't want to deal with this. I just want to go home. And which is stupid because in the long run, it really kind of hurt me. I could have, gone to the doctor, got help legitimately, and I probably still have my job to this day, and you'll find out why. Well, there is a reason. I know a lot of you always say you breathe heavy in your videos. Well, because my nostrils were messed up. For a long period of time, I used to snort pain pills.
I said, God damn! God damn!
And that really doesn't help your nasal passages very much. So basically I screwed them up. It was for a long period of time. So basically one works, this side works, the left side works, the right side really doesn't work. It always feels like it's always stuffed up. And it also probably contributes to the reason why I snort a lot too, because it probably something happened up there somewhere. But yeah, that's the reason why I breathe heavy, because sometimes I have to compensate my breathing and breathe through my mouth. So I'm very conscious of that. So when I do edit my videos, I try to lower the volume when I'm not saying anything, so you don't hear the heavy breathing. Me breathing is hard. Like even right now, I'm trying to not make it as noticeable, but I know by the time I start editing this, I'm all like, ooh, let me turn that part down. But anyway, when I was working in the pharmacy and after that whole accident thing, I used to work 8 to 12 hours, sometimes even double shifts. And I was having severe back problems due to the fact that I had the car accident. CBD. Wow. Have a cocktail, whatever you want to do. Have a cigarette. Have some flour. If was able to have a vodka and tonic or whiskey, I would have that right now with it. But what can you do? But anyway, when there was these shelves that kind of dispense some of the certain medications that we went through a lot, and on the bottom shelves in a corner was the low grade pain medicine with codeine. And a lot of times these were like, this is an older store, so a lot of times the bottom of the shelf would collect like the powder or the dust of that pain medicine, and it would either half tablets or whole tablets that would get on the bottom of that shelf, and we have to like dust it out and throw it away. Well, I start pocketing the pieces or even whole pieces. And then, that went on. And then I started taking a few from that container. Like when I had to fill it up, I would just pocket a little bit of them. And then it would go on. And then after a while, that wouldn't work. I would have to go and dip into the stronger pain medicines. And I was like, oh my God, this is not. In the back of my mind, I shouldn't be doing this. This is horrible. I was like, by this time, I was like, oh God, I'm already fucking addicted to this shit. And I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Like, I can't just tell my coworkers I have a pain pill addiction. They're like, well, how are you getting the pain pills? And I had that in my mind. I was like, but I need to get help somewhere. So I was starting to get a little bit depressed because I've had this in the back of my mind. And it went on for a while. And then about a year and a half, I think. And then Loss Prevention called me into the office. And when Loss Prevention calls you into the office, it's not just to give you a fucking award of how awesome you are. So the guy had a videotape in his hand of me on camera dipping into one of the bottles. So before I saw, I was like, well, the jig is up. So I was like, yeah. He's like, well, are you selling? I'm like, no, I'm not selling. I have a problem of addiction. By that time, I was taking like 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 at night of a 10 milligram hydrocodone. So like 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times, maybe 2 in the evening. And he was like, okay. So I admitted to it, and then they called the police. Got the police there. Had to call my dad, which that was horrible. But I was glad that they did, because they had to cash out a lot of the stuff that I worked for. I had some stocks in there. I had some other thing, 401k. And they had to cash all that out and give that to me legally before I left. That way they don't have to worry about it later on. It was just past $4,000. So I made sure, I was like, give that to my dad, because I'm going to need that to get bailed out. Lord knows how much that's going to be, because they had about 28 charges on me at that point. And so I was like talking to the police, and they were very nice about it. They were very kind, and all I can remember is when I was walking into the car, they didn't have me handcuffed. They were like, we're gonna trust you. We're not gonna handcuff you because it's kind of embarrassing. Because we're gonna have to walk you out from the store. So you've been very cooperative, and so we won't handcuff you. Just don't try anything silly. And I'm like, no, I won't. No, I won't. So all I could remember was when they're about to put me in the car, I said, well, at least I know how Paris Hilton felt like when she was getting into a cop car. And the woman laughed. The female cop laughed. And that's all I could really do at that point. It was just like to try to make light of such a bad situation so I wouldn't break down. It was like just anything to do to keep me from breaking down, because I was just trying to, I don't think it really hit me yet. So they booked me and they put me up with a bunch of these other guys. It was an eye-opening experience. One guy tried to grab my leg and try to get fresh. I was like, oh no, we're not doing this. Put me into a room with two other guys. By this time, I started getting a migraine headache, because I think I was like really getting high stress, and I couldn't. I know you don't know what time it is. If it's 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And finally, the guy comes in and says, "You can leave. You just got bailed out." I was so happy. I was so happy that I had to throw up in that disgusting toilet for like the 5th time before I even walked out of there, because I was like, oh my god. So finally I see my dad. He was waiting outside and did whatever I had to do, went outside, and immediately threw up again in the bushes by the sidewalk outside of the building. And all I can remember my dad saying, well, that's what you deserve, my God. And I'm thinking, I know. He's like, I am heartbroken. I'm like, I know. He's like, well, we got to go over to the bail bonds people right now before they leave. They want you to sign off so that way we don't have to come back tomorrow. And by this time I was like, oh God, I just want to go home. Just want to go home. But I was like, okay, fine. Let's get it down out of the way. Into the Belmont's place. I was expecting to see like Dog the Bounty Hunter and Beth Chapman type of vibe going on. That wasn't the case. And but they were nice enough. And for bail bonds people, it's like going to a biker bar, basically. It's just, I guess that's the type of people who work for bail bonds. So finally we get home. About that whole week after that, I was like in this dark place. Like a heaviness on my shoulders, because I knew I screwed up my career over some stupid shit. I should have, like I said, gone to the hospital, get some x-rays, maybe get a legit prescription from the doctor. And that way, because I worked in a pharmacy, I had good health insurance. They would pay for all that. And, I just remember I could have made a better decision with that. And During also the same time, that my horrible insurance company, horrible, gave me a hard time. I'm a victim of that car accident. And it was like almost a year after they cut me a check, and I know other people like had this there. If you want to know who it is, it's that insurance company with the lizard as the mascot, with the Aussie accent or British accent. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Horrible. They can kiss my ass. They were horrible to me. But I digress. Like I said, during that week I was going through this darkness. And all I could do was just sleep. That's what I wanted to do. Lay in my room, staying at my dad's, and move back with him, and just lay in my dark room for days on end. I remember I got a phone call from my coworkers, and they asked me how I was doing. Obviously, they knew I was going through it, and they were so sweet, so kind. And it was something I really needed. They were just so, very concerned, and they just wished me well. And they said, customers been asking about you, and they miss you. And a few of them know what happened. They saw you on the news. I was like, they saw me on the news. That's great. Yeah, that's wonderful. So my mugshot went out in the news. That is just something I really wanted to hear. But at least they were, wish me well. And all my coworkers who wish me well. They was like, we don't think any ill of you. We just want you to get better. And, if you're able to come by and visit us in the evening. Because I was supposed to be banned from that store. But they were like, we miss you, we want to see you. And I was able to sneak in one time. It was like a month or two after that. And it was nice. But after that phone call, it was so needed. I had such a weight lifted off of me. And I was able to feel a little bit better. Because, I worked with them. You work with these people for almost 11 years. You build such a strong bond with these people. These are 8 to 12 hours, sometimes double shifts. Excuse me. And you kind of care what they think. I did anyway. Because I was so embarrassed. Oh, that's a dry. This is my older CBD. A little bit dry. So, anyway, I felt much better after that. And then I was getting a little perk in my step after that. And thinking, okay, this could have more of a positive outlook. A couple of days will go by, and my mother comes down to visit from, and see how I was doing, because she knew a woman who was a lawyer, an ex-prosecutor, and she was going to introduce me to her. So we went to see her like a day after my mother came down to visit. And both my dad was sitting here and my mother was sitting on the left side of me, and my dad was on the right side. And I come to find out, I don't know if it's all ex-prosecutors turned to defense lawyers, but they don't have the best bedside. manner. To say the fucking least. Right off the bat, she's like, well, he can, with the 28 charges, he can get up to maybe 10 years worth of prison. That's all she had to say. That it, just that alone, my father and my mother both broke down sobbing. Not crying, just sobbing. Sobbing. Just bent over, sobbing. All I could remember at that time was just kind of stroke both of their backs and tell them it's going to be okay. Meanwhile, I'm thinking I should be the one who's sobbing, and they should be comforting me and rubbing my back right now. But I thought that was so funny to me. I was like, I'm the one who's going to be facing jail time, and I should be breaking down. And I'm trying to console both of them. So, but I don't think it didn't hit me yet. And she's like, but if they're willing to drop some of these charges, we could probably work out to go to a program called drug court, which is really expensive rehab. So we're hoping for that. About 3 weeks go by. We get to hear about it from the lawyer. And she said, okay, we have some good news. They dropped everything but 2 charges. And we're able to plead no contest and go to that drug program without any jail time. This is your first offense. You've never gotten in trouble before. So all we have to do is just wait for our court date, plead no contest, and we can start doing drug court. That was such a big relief. I was like, oh my God, thank God. So, I think it was like, no, it was about 4 to 5 months before I had my court date because, the judicial system. So I waited all the time, which is not a problem. It was a great way for me to kind of detox my body, kind of get my mind right. I start exercising routine, walked every day. And so I was trying to get my mind right and get my body right. And about, maybe. No, nothing happened after that. All I know is I went to the court date, and I was so nervous because I was like, oh my God, I've never been in front of a judge before and stuff. And I remember my lawyer got there. She got there late, mind you. I got freaked out for a second because my lawyer, the judge is like, "Where's your lawyer?" I'm like, I don't know. She should have been here. She was. Then a few minutes, she's like, "We'll wait," and she talked to one other person, and she's like, "She's still not here because we'll have to reschedule this." And I'm like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me with this! You gotta be kidding me with this!" She shows up. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I was talking to so and so judge just down this thing and whatever." And so I was like, "Thank God." So we went up to the podium. The judge looked it over, and the funny thing was, I knew we had to play no contest. And the lawyer wrote on the piece of paper, "Would you plead?" And she wrote NC. And all of a sudden, when I looked at that, my mind went blank. I was like, NC, what the fuck is NC? What was that? Oh shit, what was that? And she's like pointing at it, like, okay, it's no contest. But my mind went blank. And I was like, NC, what the fuck was NC again? It's like, oh my God, it's like going for a test and you're like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that answer? What's that answer? You just kind of, you get nervous. And so it was like about maybe, it seemed like it went forever. I paused forever, but it was probably like 30 seconds. And it just dawned. I was like, no contest. And he's like, okay. So that was such a big relief. But yeah, that was the last thing I could think of that was giving me high anxiety because I was like, oh, I want to fuck this up. I was like, what is that? It's not North Carolina. What is that? No contact. But yeah, that was my story about almost got 10 years worth of prison because I was stealing pain pills from a pharmacy that I was working at for about 11 years. And that's all those, and the pain pills are a reason why I breathe so heavy. Yes. So I hope that gave you a couple answers a couple of your questions. If you like this, leave a comment below. I'll tell you some more stories later on. I got some ideas of some new videos. I'm gonna get away from the music for a little bit because with the whole copyright claims and all that, I want to try to do something that does not give me copyright claims. So I have some Troom videos I want to check out. I have a friend of mine who's making a going through and making a little Tosh.0 type of video compilation for me to react to. So I should be in that in a couple of days, hopefully. And yeah, some other things I want to check out. And thank you all for being so supportive since I've got onto this channel. I've had some amazing people. You all have been so nice, subscribers, and y'all take care. Bye.
And if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to